Hello, everybody. It's Jennifer Cramer Lewis again with the Audacious Ask. So if you are one of those kind of people that's waiting for permission to ask for more in your life, well, here I am. I'm going to give you permission to ask for more in your life. And it's not going to be just, how do I make this bad thing go away? Or how do I get along with these people who are truly awful? We're just going to start asking for way more to show up and a life and living that works for you no matter how old you are. And so the first person that's going to jump on and ask a question with me is Laura. Laura, what's your audacious ask?
I was wondering, how do I get through my exam without freaking out?
Cool. So here's a question for you. So how much of it is you freaking out and how much of it is you picking up on the Wi-Fi, the psychic Wi-Fi, all of your friends who are writing exams and freaking out? What percentage would you say is you?
Probably 50%.
Half?
Yeah.
Okay. Did your mom teach you how to tap into your body and ask your body a question?
Yeah.
Okay, so you put your hand on your heart,
Wait,
and one on your belly button, okay? And right in between your hands, ask that part of your body. Say, hey body, what part of this is me and what part of this is other people? What does your body say?
Not very much.
I knew it. So when it's not you, you can't pod and pocket. So you can't run the clearing statement for other people. What you can do is something called return to sender. Okay, so let's do that together. So just put your hands back on your body. Just tap into your body and say, you know what? Thank you, body, for taking care of me. So just say that out loud even.
Thank you, body, for taking care of me.
Okay. And so do you know why you can pick up on all the people around you?
Do you know why? Am I answering that?
Do you?
Do you know why? She's asking you.
Yeah. Do you know why? Because when we were cave people, we were going to get eaten. Or we were going to fight with other cave people. So we needed to make sure that none of that happened.
Yeah.
So your body is beautiful. That's the elegance of it, is that your body can actually take care of you and read the minds and the bodies of people up to 7 kilometers away from you and make sure that you're not in danger.
Wow.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So when you're freaking out, what you can do is go, okay, cool. Hey, body, is this mine or is this someone else's?
Yeah.
And your body would be like, it's all your friends. They're freaking out. You can be like, okay, everything that's in my body right now that feels like freak out, I'm just going to take it out of my body and I'm going to return it back to sender, send it back to your friends with consciousness attached. And so they can take care of their own stuff. And so if they can't, then, they can get their bars run, or they can, go for a run or have a sleep, or, even if they do come to you and ask you a question, you can say, hey, this is what works for me. What's going to work for you?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool. So does it feel like, what percentage of freak out do you have right now?
Not very much.
Okay. Like 10%, 15%, 20%? What feels light?
10%.
10%. Okay.
Yeah.
And so of that 10%, how much of it is yours?
You can say all of it if it is.
Half.
Okay. So like 5% is yours now. Okay. Good. Okay. So tap into that. Okay. And what would your body like you to do? So tap into that place in between your hands and say, hey, body, if I could do anything for you, what would you like?
I don't know. It just doesn't say.
Do you want to hear something funny? You know what my body said your body was saying?
What?
Chocolate.
That sounds right.
So, I mean, take it or leave it. I'm not a psychic. But spending time, you know, around people and asking them questions, sometimes people's bodies will talk to me. So have some chocolate.
Okay, I will.
So is there anything you can do? Is there anything she can do before the exam that can help her, or during the exam?
Sure. This is just practical stuff. This isn't so access consciousness. What I notice is that when, just for example, for me, if I'm going to be on camera or I'm going to be interviewed by people who might get to, you know, help me get to the clients that I would really love to serve, or, you know, something where I really need to do my best. I find that if I move my body quite aggressively before that, like try to go for a run or, you know, really get a lot of oxygen in my body, that helps for me. And then just get quite still. And then when you're writing the exam, you can actually ask the questions to tell you what the right answer is. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, you could look at the question. You're like, hey, question, obviously in your head, not right in the middle of the exam. Which one's the right answer? And your body will be like, C is the right answer.
That seems like cheating.
Is it? If it's your body giving you the information that you're cutting yourself off from because you're flabbergasted,
yes,
then is it cheating?
No. Yeah, she seems
Yeah.
What happened yesterday is she said, I got in there and, you know, the questions came up, you know, and she looked at them and they were probability and maths. And she said, oh yeah, I thought probability, no problem. And she got into it and then couldn't work it out, and then as soon as that happens, her whole brain just shuts down. It's like this red exit sign comes on. It's like, get out.
Yeah, well, think about it though, going back to what we talked about, you know, this fight or flight response stopping you from getting eaten or beaten.
Yeah.
So you get into, your body can't tell the difference between getting chased by a cougar or being in a math exam.
Yeah.
It can't. And so this is where you can use that return to sender. And then you can also say to yourself, okay, anything that doesn't allow me to have the best time ever writing this exam and prove to myself what a brilliant student I am, then you can say, I destroy and uncreate it.
Okay.
Okay, and so that's, you're pressing the delete button as though it never existed.
Yeah.
You know, any of the anxiety doesn't exist. And then you have to make sure your mom runs your bars. Do you know how to run bars yet, Sally?
I'm actually signed up to a lesson on Sunday coming.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, so I've had my bars myself done, but I'm going to learn this weekend.
Okay. So there was the one that I taught, and this is sort of my favorite one to show people because you can run it on yourself. There's one that goes from one side of your head. They're like little Spock ears. So you just like right up from the pointy part of your ear, just a little tiny bit. There's almost a little dent there. And if you can run it from one side to the other, do you feel where it is, Laura?
Yeah.
Okay. And so that's called kindness, gratitude, peace, and calm. Which might be kind of a nice thing to have during an exam.
Yeah, for sure.
Like even while you're thinking about the answer, you're like, okay, well, I'm going to turn this bad boy on. And then you're like, okay, cool. So if any of these were 100% true, which one would it be? And your body's like, A, it's A. And it's like, okay, cool. So does A feel like the answer that I should put? And your body's like, yes. So, and it's not cheating because you've studied, right? And, you know, you gotta love school, right?
Yes.
You know,
she does love school. She loves school. But
and so
this is the one dragging her down because she's so, I mean, it's very hard. What she's doing is it's a difficult subject, and she has worked really hard at it, but things aren't coming together for her, and so she's having this freak out.
Okay, so all of this, everywhere your mom is telling you that you're freaking out, we destroy and uncreate it.
Destroy it, create it, yeah.
Good and bad, right and wrong, pod and pock, all 9 boy shirts and beyonds. And everywhere your mom's taking on all of your pain and suffering, and then you're trying to take it away from your mom, and then she's trying to take it away from you, and it's becoming this beautiful trauma loop. All of that, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes.
Bad, right and wrong, pod and pock, all 9 boy shirts, beyonds. Nice. And so when you're gushy and wonderful as a mom and you want to take on your kids' trauma, what it does, kind of to be a jerk, is it reinforces that there is a trauma.
Yes.
And what if there isn't?
That's right. That'd be good. Let's ask for that.
Yeah, what if there isn't? Like in the next 10 seconds, after we're done talking, what I would love for you to do is to take 10 seconds and just tell yourself there's no trauma. No trauma, no trauma, no trauma, no trauma. And be in the space of no trauma with math and all of your exams. And, other than when you're going to university, there will never be a time in your life, or almost never, probably 1% of the time, people will say, oh, what did you get on that exam?
That's right.
So yes, you need to pass it. Yes, you need to get top marks. But anything that's preventing you that feels like it's insurmountable, okay, that, will you destroy and uncreate all of it?
Yes.
Okay, good and bad, right and wrong, pod and pock, all 9 boy shirts and beyonds. Nice. Because there will be, like you said, 95, we worked you down. 95% of the big flap wasn't even yours, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. So if you weren't in a big flap about doing well on this, then how well could you do?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Because trauma is one of those things. It becomes a loop. It's like, all my friends are freaked out. And so then I get freaked out. And then I try to heal my friends from being freaked out. And then they try to heal me. And what's at the center of it is the freak out.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe in the freak out, or you don't allow it to affect you, if you're like, nah, if I wasn't freaked out right now, what would I be? Because sometimes it could be excited. And that might not be appropriate. I mean, you can't say, oh, I'm totally excited about this exam. So your friends are like, okay, weirdo. But when you're prepared for something, isn't it exciting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there is a part of our brain, the neural pathways, excitement and fear have the same chemical signature. Like it fires the same part of the brain. And so the only way that we know that we're afraid is what we tell ourselves.
There you go.
Okay? So what you can do is you can put your hand on your heart and your belly button again and go, excited, 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 excited. So every time you feel freaked out about writing a test, so those are the things that I would love for you to do, is ask your body, hey body, what percentage of this is mine? And your body will say, oh, half. And you're like, okay, body, really? What percentage of this is, so stop. And you're like, okay, all half of that, I just return it back to sender. And my friends can take care of themselves, or they can ask some professional for some help. And then stop. And then ask again, hey, what percentage of this is mine now? And your body will be like, almost none. And then you can be like, okay, I'm going to feel that. And I'm going to tell myself, excited, 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 excited.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Right.
That's good, isn't it?
So how do you be now?
Good. Happy.
Excited?
Yes.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah. And don't forget about the little Spock ears. Get your fingers in there and even maybe just bounce up and down and say with your Spock ears.
Yes.
And you don't have to tell anybody what you're doing. It's just like, oh, I'm just rubbing my, I got an ache in my head.
Yes.
You know, because sometimes in my job, I'm around people who are like legitimately traumatized. You know, they've had some pretty crappy lives. And sometimes I just have to turn mine on while I'm talking to them, you know, because it's like, you know, wow, what crazy stuff happens to people.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So if you're around people who are legitimately traumatized, you can just turn yours on.
Yeah.
And then, you know,
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for being on. I love talking to you. Come back anytime.
Okay, I will.
Bye, honey.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Yeah. Okay, you guys. Well, that was the Audacious Ask. And we go live every week on Monday that I'm available. And if I'm not traveling, or if it's not a holiday in Canada where I live. And you're welcome to join us for live facilitation. If I can fit as many people as I can fit in for facilitation, I will. And we're learning to ask more audaciously, you know, instead of just, you know, make and do. What would it be like if we could ask for way more than we ever thought possible? And that's the Audacious Ask. And you can join us at bit.ly/audaciously with a capital A. And we'll see you next week. Bye, guys. Ciao.